Yeah, we open for question and answer. We have the panel here that will be answer the question is me, myself. It's also Amitabh, and it's also Said Rizki. So the three of us, this is the panel for today. Bring it on.
Right. One thing I want to say before you start asking questions, is that look, we are doing this so that when we go out and do an actual presentation, it is well presented, and the message that we're trying to give is clear. So you can ask or suggest ways by which you think we can improve the presentation. You can suggest ways and means how you think we could make it better, or you can ask any question related to any of the slides that were presented. Okay, and it will help all of us. We all learn and grow. We are not professionals here, so we are all practicing so that when we do go out in the outside world, we become really, we manage to carry the message. Cami, you had a question?
Yeah. I have a question. Basically, it's a very well made presentation, which brings out all the points which are necessary for a professional to understand. But what I mean to ask is, like, do we have this presentation, one presentation for all kinds of professionals, like medical professionals or police guys, or do we change it according to the audience?
Do you guys want to answer that? Nita, Said?
Yes, from my experience, to making the presentation is really depend on your culture, where you came from, how is it work in your country. I mean, like in Indonesia, we tweak a little bit every time we have the presentation. To the prison is different. To our community here is different because we also based on the we call it community Banjar. So the language is also kind of different. And when we're doing the presentation, even for the prisoner is different. So the language or the model of the presentation. That is my experience.
Thank you.
Kami,
thank you.
Basically, this is just the base. You can modify it, depends on what you need. But these numbers are really helpful for you to presenting of what NA in a worldwide global scale. The numbers really do speak. That's my experience.
Yeah, thanks.
One more suggestion I have, in that contact, that post office box is still given, which is not relevant nowadays. So can we just have an email ID, email address or something?
Absolutely.
So that could be email ID of like most of the countries which are in Asia Pacific, like for instance in Delhi or specifically, or India ID or Indonesia ID. Anyone can write an email. Like,
yes. Yes. Thanks. Great suggestion. I just want to add something, Cami. You asked how do we tailor? So, like when we go to a prison, for example, we have a slide which talks about behind the walls. There's an IP called Behind the Walls. So we have a slide which has, behind the walls is some stories of prisoners. There are some quotes in that. So what we do is we put that, and we also offer to the prison authorities that when members from prison come outside, when they join our meetings, they become productive members of society and their lives change. So we do highlight that point. Excellent questions, Cami. Thank you.
Wilman, Edik.
Hi, Wilman.
Hi, guys. Yeah, I would like to ask Nita and Oki, when you do the presentation to the authorities or the institution, do you bring the literature also, or is there any name card that you bring also? And what is the follow-up after this presentation? Is it any, do you mention about if you going to jail or rehab? Do you guys mention the follow-up like HMI after that? And then about the appointment for the presentation. So you guys bring the laptop, right? So you can present this presentation to the authorities. And how do you make the schedule or the appointment so this presentation can be displayed? Thank you.
Thank you, Wilman. Excellent questions.
Thanks, Wilman. From the experience that we do in Bali, we have first time we are so lucky when APF come into Indonesia, and then the convention was, an APF meeting was held in Bali. So the World Service was having the private meeting with the government. So that was our key point to enter the government. On that meeting between the World Service and the government, we invite the health department, we invite of the few of the organization, and prison, police, and few of the hospital. So that was the key point. From there, actually, I was involved myself, and I just get all the contact of the people that attend, or the government was attend the meeting. Follow up from there. So the people that already attend the meeting, they already got some clue of it. What it is, you know, how is it work, because the meeting with the World Service. So, but of course, it was a little bit with the language barrier. It's easy for us to go in because we have that contact. So that's how we go in, and then we go in, we're making the phone call, we follow up with the phone call, and then we're making another appointment to do the NA presentation to their office with our language, in our language. So that was happening. And from there, then we have the presentation with them, which is they already know that we need a laptop to explain, we need the material, we also bring our name card, we also bring few of the literature. That time we don't have much literature, but lucky we still have some of the basic text. It was like only have 2 of the basic text in Bahasa Indonesia. So that's what we bring, and that's where is the conversation was started. And yes, but we do need to bring at least the name card.
So what you're saying, Nita, is that preparation is very important, how you prepare.
Absolutely. Yes.
Saeed, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Nita. I just want to add up, for meeting this professional, we do need to look professional as well. So we only get one chance to look bad. So better not blow it. so we have to be there on time. 15 minutes earlier, that will be best. So they would know that they are talking to a professional. In the process, when they know that we are also an addict, it's going to be something that, you know, add up for our points. As this is an addict, they can perform professional, and they can have a presentations which is very professional. These slides that Nita just presents, it helps a lot, because most of these professionals, they want to know result, right? So we coming in as an addict who is, you know, working the program is a direct result of this program, and they will get the feel of it. You know, I think that's all I want to add.
Yeah, excellent points, Said.
Yep.
Question.
And also on the presentation itself, how that we modified with what is actual, if we have the picture that is like the place in Bali or Indonesia, the picture of the place, the picture of the literature in our language, that is really catching also for them, that this is happening in our language, in our country, not just something that we adapted and is happening in overseas, but it's actually already happened in our country. So that is actually really, really help. So we take a picture of the place that we are meeting. We have our key tag in Bahasa Indonesia at that time. So that is really catching the eyes, because it's happening, you know, and yeah.
Okay, Wilman, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, Irina had a hand up. Irina?
Yes, Kanita, I speak Indonesia tanya.
Sure.
With bahasa, oke. Kanita, jadi kalau misalkan aku mau nanya kan itu kan Kanita waktu itu kan karena ada kesempatan lembaga-lembaga itu datang ke sebuah pertemuan kan. Nah kalau misalkan kita yang datang ke penjara, kita yang menawarkan itu boleh atau gimana Kanita?
Is that is the prison came to us. So her question is now, and we the one is go around and offer the program itself. I mean, the presentation or NA itself to each of the organization.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Nita, could you just repeat that, please? The question?
Yeah, I have to explain that. Nita, I think she's freeze. Nita,
what we doing before, then yeah, can you?
Nita, you can shut off your video. Maybe it'll help.
Yeah, well, I try to explain it, Amita. Yeah. Basically, Irena asking from what Nita shared just now, it was happening in the APF. So her question is, can we do this if we going inside the prisons, right? So I tried to explain it in bahasa first. Irena, kita bisa melakukannya ke sana. Datang ke penjara. Saya sama beberapa teman-teman di sini, sama Wilman, sama teman-teman HNI di Jakarta pernah datang ke Cipinang, lalu kita melakukan presentasi untuk para narapidana. Lalu setelah itu, setelah selesai dengan HNI dengan narapidana, saya melakukan presentasi kecil bersama beberapa dokter. Setelah itu, mereka menjadwalkan untuk presentasi yang lebih besar, tapi akhirnya kita mesti stop dulu karena COVID kejadian saat itu. So, begitu kira-kira. Irena bisa menjawab? Bisa terjawab ya pertanyaannya?
Bisa, thank you Kak.
Okay, so I was explaining that this time, we have an experience that we go to Jakarta prisons, we have an HNI meeting with a HNI committee in Jakarta. Wilman and I was involved in that. We have an HNI presentations for the inmates, and afterwards we have these presentations for the doctor and the warden. It's a small presentations, but they do get the spirit of it. We were supposed to have a schedule to have a bigger presentations, but God will says the other stuff, COVID coming in, and we got held until now. Hopefully someday we can manage to get that one in.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Saeed. Clear. Wilman, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sorry, my question about the follow-up is the PR committee after this presentation open up the doors to the other service like HNI? Do they mention to the authorities or to the institution there will be another committee who's coming like HNI and everything? Do they do that? And then also can we have this template for our PR presentation in my area? This presentation template, can we have it? That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, just quickly, absolutely, you will have it. Excellent question, Wilman. Please, Saeed, Anita.
Yes. In the meeting itself after the presentation, we finish the presentation, a question answer. Usually we asking them, well, we came to their organization or to the prison is with the purpose that we're going to carry the message. That is the purpose first, you know. Of course, in the discussion, that was the goal that we want to. So the meeting or the HNI said the example is the prison. We really expecting, well, usually is also, we talk about how is this work before we doing the presentation. So presentation is about how to make them understand how it works, like the self-support, what is the literature, you know. But the HNI, why we want to be there, that's already in the early discussion. And after the meeting itself, that's when we got From my experience in Bali, in prison in Bali, after we're doing the presentation, they're the one is locking us with the memorandum of the understanding, with the MOU. They're the one who want to lock us, you know, to make sure that we are coming, to make sure that is happening, you know. So it is, the follow-up is absolutely important. And what we're doing on the presentation is about, we presenting NA, we explain about NA, but it's also the follow-up is about we delivered. How are we going to deliver it? We're promising. When we're doing the presentation, it's about we promising about NA. And a follow-up is a deliver that promise, that people came, people turn up. Is there enough? That's why it's important also in our area, in our committee, we have all this committee. We have the people that greet in the meeting, the greeter. We have the people that doing the HNI. So this is all the committees work together. And yes, the answer to the question about the follow-up, it's going to be the follow-up. The follow-up is about deliver the promise. When we're doing the presentation, it's the promising, it's about the program. Thank you.
Thanks, Nita. I just want to add that in Narcotics Anonymous, all of us work together for one goal. And that goal, we all know, is to get more and more addicts into our meetings. So any committee that we have, whether it's HNI, PR, translations, every single committee in NA works for the same purpose. So yes, we are connected and we carry the message together. I just want to ask anybody who, from Bangladesh, from India, from Australia, we have members, I think we have a member from Oman. Do you have any questions before we move on to the next segment? Singapore.
I'm an addict named Rosano. Can I jump in, Amitabh?
Absolutely, Rosano.
Right. So thank you for the presentation. You know, and I think the question asked by Wilman, can we have the template, right? So have not been answered. And right now in Singapore, I know that we have this template, probably similar, but I think there's something that we miss out, especially the one that is now staring at me, because I remember I was asked to present at our last PR, and then the question come to me, you know, why the words Narcotics Anonymous in narcotics? So this answer that the template now staring at me was, you know, it's a good one. It's answered the question that I have used before. I need to call members, you know, to have that answer. But now I probably know what I'm trying to say is that with this template, probably we can improve or amend the template that we have. Right? Yes. And what we use here, unlike the one that is being presented, is the demographic of our local fellowship, you know, the graph, everything. That when the World Service or APF was doing the survey, we did our own survey, and the graph especially, you know, was mostly based on our local. And I love the answer that, you know, that we move it or change it to the needs of our local fellowship, and not just a fixed one, which I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosano. Eric, you've put the resources in the chat. I think you put it in the waiting room. It'll help if you put it in to everyone in the chat. So Eric RD from Hawaii has put some public relations resources. If you click on that link, you'll be able to find resources as well, more resources. Okay, anybody else has a question from NERF, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan? From India?
I think Rumi has his hand up.
Okay. Okay, Rumi, please go ahead. Unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Rumi. I'm an addict. I'm from Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Hi, Rumi.
Yeah, the first time attending the PR and worker workshop. It's glad to be around here. So we are working on the same sort of thing around here. So I'm a volunteer member in the PR, so it's a great experience around here. I'm just waiting for the other session of the workshop to go on. That's it.
Thank you, Rumi. Thanks for being here. Should we move on, Nita?
Yeah, if no more question, I think we can move on to the next to the next agenda. And yeah, I just want to put this conclusion about the presentation itself. Yes, everyone can have the presentation, and this is just the basic of the ingredients of our what we want to deliver. Each country have their own way, their own demographic, their own style, how you want to put it. Depend on also who is your audience. We also experienced the other day with the police. The question is more about the seventh tradition. You know, who's funding it? How independent is this? You know, all of this is developing in each of the audience. The important thing is also for us doing the presentation, we know what we are talking about. We are, as Amitabh was mentioned before, in the committee, on each of the service committee, we all working together. It's not just the PR, but it's also we have to be ready with everyone. We're carrying the message. What is the message is? The message is about the hope. What is the freedom? What is the promise? The promise is about the freedom. So this is, we are clear. The primary purpose is to carry the message to Narradic with the message of hope and the promise of the freedom. We are clear with that. And yeah, the presentation itself, like I said, even in Indonesia, we are absolutely love with the picture. So we're doing a lot of the picture. We're giving example and more clear also what is anonymity when we are talking with the prisoner, with the police staff. So that is completely different with the hospital, with the community. And yes, you definitely can modify it but this is the basic things that you need to have in your presentation. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Excellent.
Thank you,
Thank you for your
Thank you,
service,
Kanita.
Can I add up one more detail that I haven't
Sure.
touched? We have to be mindful of how do we look on the presentations. You know, we need to have a good clothes, no t-shirts please and no shorts please. So we have to have one, you know, we have to look nice, you know, so they can appreciate us better. That's it.
Like, you know, Amitabh always mentioned that to me. When we doing all the presentation, when we carry the message, it's not about me. It's nothing about me at all. For the culture, I mean, we all, few for people, I always say, I mean, here in Bali, we are very diversity. And sometimes we said, oh, Bali is easy. The government, we can negotiate, but it's not about us. We here because we got the message. The people inside the one is need the message. So we need to follow the rule that is given by the institution, by the office, what they ask. Example, like in Bali, every Thursday, we have to wear Balinese clothes. That's why we're wearing all that, whatever is that, you know? And on Friday, we have to wear batik. So that's just two different things that we need to understand. Full moon is different again. You know, you have to wearing Balinese in white. So those kind of things we also need to understand what is the culture is. Probably when we go to another part of Indonesia, we need to wearing hijab. Who knows, you know? But we do need to following this, and it's not about us. It's not about me. It's about we delivering the message, and the people inside, especially in the jail, they the one is need the message. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nita. Sajal, I'll come back to you. I just want to add something. When you do a presentation to the media, for example, there will be times when the media will ask you many questions and they will be very aggressive. I was in a presentation where a journalist actually got up and said to me, stop this nonsense. What nonsense are you doing here? And it's important to remember that I am not representing Amitabh. You know, it's important to remember that this is Narcotics Anonymous. I cannot lose my temper. I cannot get angry. If I have a problem with anger, then I need to deal with it, because if I get angry with a journalist and I start a fight, that does not help NA. So it's important to remember these things. Be calm, do your preparation, have a list of answers ready. If somebody asks you a question, what do you think about marijuana? Isn't that a soft drug? You be very clear, Narcotics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. And this drug is an outside issue. Do not get into an argument. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about Narcotics Anonymous. So this is important. The more you deal with people, the more you will face these situations. So be prepared. Do a rehearsal. That's why we are doing this. We are preparing. Okay. Sajal, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you, Amitabh. Just a small question. My question is to Nita, Syed, Rizki, those who are the facilitators here today. When you are in a presentation or as a facilitator, as a PR presentation, how do you present yourself or name yourself? I mean, do you say that yeah, if someone asks you, are you an addict? So what do you respond then? What will be your response in your community? Am I clear?
Yes, yes. Great question.
Amitabh?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, my experience, when I came, I will introduce that my name is Nita, and I explain that I came here to do the presentation of the NA. So people normally is not asking, but if I do feel comfortable with the conversation, where is the flow go, and I feel comfort, then I will, like with the prisoner, usually yes. I said that I'm also an addict, I'm a member. So it's just really following the flow. But when the first, I will not saying that I'm an addict. But I will say that my name, and I'm here to do the presentation of the NA. So that's how I roll it normally, my experience. Thank you.
Yeah. Saeed?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm quite the same with Nita. Normally, I only introduce my I don't disclose my full name in the presentations, so just to keep the slightly anonymity. But if I feel comfortable, I will say it, because I think when you point out that you are also an addict, it will help a little bit in the presentations, you know. So when we perform the presentations well, and they know in the first hand, they see the result of it, they will get a better picture of it. That's it from me, Sajal.
Thanks, Saeed. Peter?
Thank you.
Thank you, Amitabh. I'm Peter, and I'm an addict in Australia. My experience and the way I would roll with this is actually quite different. My experience, if I'm doing, and I've done quite a lot of presentations to professionals in Australia, if I'm presenting to professionals, I always give my full name. I would introduce, when I was the PR for the Australian region, I would introduce myself as Peter, you know, and I don't care, Peter Blanche. I'm the regional public relations chair for Narcotics Anonymous. I would say my name is Peter Blanche, and I'm an addict. I'm here to do a presentation from the Australian region of NA. I mean, the way I feel is I'm presenting to professional people. Quite often those professionals have a name tag on, giving their full names. And I think it's if I just say my name is Peter, I'm separating myself from, I'm trying to behave in a professional way, and that separates me from that professionalism. but you know, it's different from person to person and culture to culture. So that's just how I've done it for many years here. And I appreciate that it would be different in different different communities. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Yeah, thanks, man. I agree with that. I always introduce myself as an addict because I think the attraction that we want to bring is the fact that I am an addict. My life was in misery and hell, but now it's not. That's one thing that, and the PR handbook talks about it. There will be times when in our public relations effort, we will have to deal with anonymity, and we need to be aware of that. Also in a professional setting, like Peter said, I was in a professional PR event last week, and where everybody introduced themselves with their full names. And so we had to do the same. We certainly talk to them about our anonymity. We tell them don't publish our full names. That we do tell them. But sometimes you have to. So thank you, Peter, for that. Amir, you had a question? We need to move on.
Yes, yes, I have a question. More or less you have answered, Peter and you, that you know, because if you are going with a body like NA, how can you maybe ask who you guys are, and we have to tell that we are addicts. And secondly, your question regarding the query from from a journalist that is marijuana a drug. Don't we say that we have a program of total abstinence, although we will not delve into whether it's a soft drug or a hard drug? You mentioned that it's an outside issue. Marijuana is a drug, isn't it?
It is. The question would be, are you in favor of soft drugs? Are you only talking about hard drugs? That's the question. And then you say, no, I mean, we are not here to talk about a particular drug. We believe we have a disease of addiction, any drug, you know. So we don't differentiate between drugs. We don't speak in favor of a drug or another drug.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, I would want to, but I don't.
Thank you.
It's a hard line to draw. It's hard to say what we can comment on and what we ought not comment on. But it comes down to NA has no opinion on an outside issue, and the you know, the issue of whether marijuana is a soft drug as opposed to heroin, which is a hard drug. Irrespective, we're abstinent from all drugs, so no outside opinion.
Yeah. I just want to add that we do say in our presentations that our tradition 3 talks about the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. So NA is not just open for people who are clean or off drugs. It's also open for people who are doing drugs and they want help. We make that clear that we welcome everybody, whether you're using, not using, doesn't matter. Cami, this is the absolute last question because Prabhas is getting nervous and he wants to do his FB thing.
Okay. So my question is, like, I feel a bit uneasy, you know, about what Peter said and what you said about revealing names. I mean, the thing is, like, when we talk about anonymity, I mean, in our area, we've done quite a few presentations where we've stuck to our, you know, single names, saying that I'm Cami or whatever, this is an NA name, so to say. Like, we don't reveal the entire name, even if some journalists ask us, saying that where are you working or something like that, we give them the standard reply saying that we have this anonymity thing, which is one of the reasons which prevents us from disclosing our name and all that. But I personally would be very uneasy to disclose my name even to professionals. You know,
yeah.
professionals.
So Cami, you have to understand the context of revealing your full name, right? So for example, obviously if NA is doing a presentation and there are journalists present, you will not reveal your full name and you will talk about anonymity and why you don't reveal your full name. But sometimes NA attends addiction conferences, right? We get a booth, we put up a booth there. The requirements is that we give our full name. We have to have placards which have our full name. You cannot go and quote your traditions over there.
Okay.
So
I agree.
my larger question is, Is it like necessary for people who are actually working in PR that they should be like willing to share their full name? If people who have some problem sharing their full name, they should not be in PR. Is that it?
Like if you go and do an HNI meeting, Cami, in a jail, you have to give your full name. You even have to carry an ID card. And you have to give them your ID card with your full name. So yes, members need to be told you will have to do that.
Okay.
And if you're not comfortable, then don't come. Thank you.
Right.
Great questions.